Hi all, welcome back to C++ tutorial on Tude Fulcrum. In this session, we'll be discussing about hierarchical inheritance in C++. In our previous sessions, we have discussed in detail what inheritance is and what is the importance of having this concept in programming. So let's see more about hierarchical inheritance. In this type of inheritance, more than one subclass is inherited from a single base class. That is, you will have more than one derived class which is created from a single base class. For example, let's say class A. Let this be the base class. So from this base class A, we are going to create two child classes, class B and class C. Again, from this class B, you can still create another child class. Here we are calling it as class D. Again, from class C, we are creating a child class, class E. So this can continue. This is hierarchical inheritance. So to understand this, let's take an example and let's implement this in C++. Say for example, we have a class student. Let's consider this as a base class, and in this class we are going to add the student details. And from the student class, we are categorizing the student as those belonging to ECE department and those belonging to CSE department. So that is going to be the two child classes for our class student. So let's implement this in the code and see how the flow is. So before getting to the coding part, one last point. Take a close look at the implementation of hierarchical inheritance. You can say that class ECE and class CSE is not related. Only relation between them is with the parent class, class student. So to access the class ECE, you need to have a separate object for class ECE, and to access class CSE, you need to have its own object. Keep that point in mind. Now let's see about the code. Let's start by creating our parent class. So class student. This is our base class or the parent class. So I'm not going to add any data members here. I'm trying to keep the code as simple as possible so that my aim here is to make you understand how the flow of control happens in hierarchical inheritance. So I'm simply adding a member function here, just simply displaying a statement. So let me call it as this student. So actually you can add the student details here, like the name, ID of the student. So that's going to remain a common, let it be any student, whether he or she is belonging to EC department or CSE. The personal details of a student is going to remain the same. So such entities, you can keep it in your parent class. So for time being, I'm simply adding here a this student function, which is just simply printing a statement, I'm a student. So moving to the child class, I'm going to create a child class ECE. So the mode of inheritance is public and the parent class name here is student. So I'm creating a child class by name ECE from the parent class student. So here also I'm just adding a member function just to display that it's a ECE department. So void, let me call this function as disp ECE, and just a cout statement. Say I belong to ECE department. So done with the ECE class. Let's add one more child class to a class student. So as said, let us call this as CSE and let the mode of inheritance be public and the parent class name is student. Let me add a member function here. Let me call this as disp CSE and let it just display. So that's our child class CSE. So what did we do till now? We have our parent class student, and from this parent class we have created our child class ECE, and then we had one more child class CSE which is created from the parent class student. So one parent class, that is student, from which we have created two child classes ECE and CSE. Now let's see how we are going to create objects to these classes and how we are going to invoke the various member functions of these classes. So as discussed in our previous sessions, we'll be creating object to the child class. So here there are two child classes. So as said, we need to have two different objects for the same. We need to have an object for ECE class and we need to have an object for CSE class. And through these objects of CSE and ECE, you can access the parent class properties. So let's see how we are going to do that. So let's first create an object to ECE class. So ECE, let E be the object of ECE class. Now through this object, I'll call the parent class function, that is disp student. Right? I can do this because ECE is a child class of student. Now through the object E, I'll call its own member function, that is disp ECE. Right? Now I'm going to repeat the same process for the class CSE. I'll create an object to the CSE class. Let me call this as C. And through this object C, I'm going to invoke the parent class function, that is disp student. And then I'll call its own method, that is disp CSE. Alright, so we have invoked all the methods by creating objects. Now let's execute the code and see our output. So our program works fine and we are getting the output. I'm a student, I belong to ECE department, and when you create an object to the CSE class, you got the output. I'm a student, I belong to CSE. So that's about hierarchical inheritance in C++. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe, and please don't forget to tap the bell icon. You'll get notified whenever we upload a new videos. Thank you.